to the mystery of the dying birds.
There must be about 100 birds in this area.
There are dead birds all over this Somerset County neighborhood in Franklin Township, New Jersey, on front lawns, on top of roofs, and in the street. Neighbors are still picking them up. Andrea Kepik says it was like a scene out of a horror movie when she walked out of her home Friday night.
I remember the movie The Birds. There was a dead bird on my stoop. Then I just looked a little beyond and saw other dead birds on my steps.
And then she says she looked around and there were dead birds as far as her eyes could see.
I walked over to my car, stepping over them.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture confirms it is responsible for the controlled kill to reduce the European starling population. Township manager Ken Daly says the USDA placed seeds tainted with poison at a local farm.
Birds eat the seed and they metabolize the poison and die within about 24 hours. We've been told by USDA that the carcasses are not a danger.
The problem is, Daly says, the USDA kept the town in the dark so authorities couldn't warn neighbors who saw birds falling from the sky.
We did not receive notice of what they were going to do.
Neighbors are mad too.
We did clean it, but the people that were responsible for poisoning these poor critters, they should have cleaned them.
Even though officials say there's nothing to worry about, Kepik says she's frozen a couple of the birds and she's going to take them to Rutgers University so they can do an autopsy on them. In Franklin Township, Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News.
Now, USDA officials say that they believe either state or local officials were notified, but they are investigating, and the agency is also offering to...
Now to a mystery surrounding dead birds. Health officials are trying to figure out why people are discovering feathered carcasses all over parts of Brooklyn and Queens. CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez live in Williamsburg with that story tonight. Hazel?
Jim, this is really a strange story. The City Department of Health discovered dead birds here in this field behind me in Brooklyn and also in a field in Queens. They're conducting tests on the carcasses to determine if those birds died from a poison, a virus, or possibly by accident. DEP hazmat crews were collecting soil samples on Bedford and South 4th Street in Williamsburg tonight. The samples could hold the answer to why about 20 birds were found scattered in this field and on the sidewalk across the street. Randy Garcia saw the lifeless birds as he walked to and from school today.
It was still moving. And we saw we were staring at it, and then it died.
Mario Colon says that for several days he's noticed dead birds on his block on South 4th. He says he called 311 over the weekend, but firefighters and sanitation crews did not respond until today.
He said from the last 5 days he's been seeing a lot of pigeons and little pigeons dying all over the street.
This is the second batch of dead birds found in the city today. Earlier in Queens, another 20 birds were found on the lawn of the Steinway Piano Factory. The health department is looking into 3 possible causes of death.
Either someone put out a pesticide, or possibly there's a migration of birds going on in this area right now, and with the vicinity of LaGuardia Airport, the birds might have simply struck the building and fallen to the ground. And the other possibility is the West Nile virus.
It will take some time before it's determined if the bird deaths are related. The unknown has neighbors like Randy Garcia feeling very uneasy.
I'm a little nervous because it could affect us too.
Now, health officials say so far the birds found in Queens came up negative for a chemical death, but it will take about 2 weeks to conduct a complete test on those birds. We're live in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News.
Fly over, fly over. Sing! Fly over, fly over. Chant! Fly over, fly over. Stop on it, just kick down the accelerator. Sing! Fly over, fly over. Don't wanna get back, that's the one that can't capture. Chant! Fly over, fly over. Stop on it, just kick down the accelerator. Sing! Fly over, fly over. Mr. Trans-Metropolitan, get out of my way. There ain't enough hours in my day. The city's on fire in the pouring rain.